So I picked up a pair of Dynaco Mark IIIs because I was inspired by Mark over at Blue Glow, inspired by his series where he restored a pair. And there are lots of aftermarket parts available for them, so it's an easy and fun project. So these are stock. Their caps have been changed underneath, but otherwise they're just unadulterated, unmolested, and ready for some treatment. So I wanted one chassis because one of the things I don't like about Dynaco aesthetically is this cutout for the circuit board. I don't know why they built them that way. I'm sure there's a reason, but I just don't like the way it looks. So I'm going to build a cage out of this perforated stainless steel to go over the circuit board and then drill the holes for the tubes. So I'm just playing around, making a template basically. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to use the bottom of the chassis. Again, aesthetically, it doesn't appeal to me. So what I'm going to do is build some panels for the side, like, you know, Japanese solid state receivers from the 70s or 60s. And I'm also going to lift it up a little bit, give it more airflow, and then take some of this 6061 aluminum and make a faceplate so that all this will be covered up, and then it'll be raised up that far. The wood panels on the side will be the same height as this aluminum. And so I got to cut two pieces for this, and then start knocking out the holes for all the parts and everything. And the first other thing I'm going to do, anyway, I pulled these transformers, so I'm going to check them. I'm sure they're fine, but going to just make sure they're okay. And then I already ordered the boards from Triode, the driver boards, because I'm not going to do any more work on this until I get those boards so I can see how high the tube sockets are going to be, and then I'll know how high to make this bend here. And so I'm drilling holes, and it'll go in these same mounting holes. And I'll also bend it over on all four sides, but I'm just messing around right now. And I want to see how high those tube sockets are with those boards. Although it doesn't really matter, because if they're higher than this, I can just put some nylon spacers or standoffs underneath and drop the board down, because I want to keep this as low as possible. And so this is the stainless steel perforated plate I'm going to use. I just put some Dynaco on here so that today I can I want to make one. I might use some softer material, just some sheet aluminum, to make a template, because you have to cut the corners. For instance, right here, when you bend this down, the corner has to be notched out so that it all ends up making a rectangular box. So, test the transformers today. I'll probably pull this other chassis apart and then wait for the parts from Triode, which will be a couple more days, I'm sure. And I'm going to use these old chassis. I'm going to powder coat them black. And I don't, there's that aesthetic of chrome or nickel plated chassis with tube products, Macintosh, these Dynacos. They don't appeal to me. I've never liked that. So not going to buy new chassis because these are going to be powder coated anyway. And I don't like the way these are made. These are stamped. That's the way they produce these things. So I've already gone in here and chamfered, and I hate working on these things when you're always cutting yourself on the edges. So I've already gotten this one nice and ready. And as with all of them, I'll just leave the underside unpainted so I get good grounds. And I don't like the way they spot weld these, so this is where the wood panels will go, so you won't see that at all, and I can notch the wood so it'll sit right over these. These will be completely invisible. So, on to the first parts of the project.